Hey, this is Kat from Red Mountain Shaman, and I share shamanic wisdom through dreams, visions, nature, synchronicities, intuition, channeling, art, music, photography, and shamanic journeys. Welcome back to my channel. In this episode, I wanted to share my experiences I had on a trip that I was guided to take to Sedona and their surrounding areas, along with 2 channelings that seemed to explain the deeper spiritual meaning of the work I was doing there. I had felt a pull to go to Sedona for many years, but the time finally seemed right. Before I left, I tried to tune into why I was drawn there. I was just told to trust that I would be guided by spirit. I also kept seeing a spirit bear in my mind's eye. I was then shown a bear star constellation, but I had no idea what it meant. Another thing that happened before we left was that I watched a Scorpio tarot reading since my birthday is this month. What stood out about me was the fact that 2 tower cards from different decks were pulled in this reading. At the beginning of our trip, we saw a sign that said Tower Road that appeared at the exact moment that a song we were listening to in the car had the word tower in it. The tower card can mean danger and destruction, but as I felt into it, I felt it more meant the destruction of the old and thus liberation and rebirth. Also, possible sudden change. As we drove towards our first destination of Page, Arizona, we decided to stop in an antique shop near Bryce Canyon. There, I spotted an equal-sided cross made of silver and turquoise that I purchased and wore the rest of the trip. We were ahead of schedule, so we decided to check out Bryce Canyon on a whim. On the way in, I noticed a sign that said Scenic Byway, and I remembered a channeling a few months ago that said to get out in nature and enjoy the scenic byways. So it seems that even though this stop-off was unplanned, I was meant to be there. We headed to the top of the mountain where it was windy and snowy. The views were incredible and ravens surrounded us. Ravens are known to be carriers of magic, wisdom, healing, rebirth, and mysticism. They are linked to the void where universal secrets are kept and can help transmute karma. On our way out of the park, we stopped for a hike at Red Canyon, where the snow was gone and it was so still and quiet that it almost felt like a Western movie set. I later did some research about this canyon when I returned home and found out that it was a movie set. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was filmed here. It was one of the most beautiful hikes we have ever been on. On our way out of the park, we passed a sign that said Elevation 7777. As night fell, a glorious, near full moon emerged. We drove through the darkness the rest of the way to our hotel in Page. I realized that the place I picked to stay was walking distance to the Glen Canyon Dam overlook, so we went there the next morning. I had just recently learned the Native American story or perspective about this dam concerning how the tribal people had a bait and switch pulled on them by the government. But this is a topic for another video. The views were epic to say the least. We gassed up the car and we made our way down to the Grand Canyon. We were going to stop at a trading post along the way, but there was a sign on the door that said, "No mask, no service, regardless of VAX status." So we moved on. As we drove, my main intention was to clear deception energy and to send healing to the people, the ancestors, and the land. We headed into a main outlook at the Grand Canyon, and lo and behold, there was a huge, beautiful tower there that I didn't know about. That made 5 towers total, including the 2 cards, the road sign, and the song. We walked around the rim of the canyon, taking in the breathtaking scenery. We stopped and stood in the forest on our way out, and the wind seemed to speak through the trees. We saw a herd of elk resting in the pines as we made our way towards Flagstaff. They carry the energy of strength, stamina, patience, and ultimate success. We saw the gorgeous full moon come out from behind the mountains on our drive through a valley of homesteads. It was the night of the eclipse, When we got to our hotel, we got some dinner and Michael strummed his guitar for a while. We often seemed to come up with new songs or seeds of songs while we were traveling. Exploring seems to feed our soul's creative flow, and we set the intention to be able to afford to do more of that. The next morning, I felt guided to do a quick eclipse channeling, and Archangel Michael came forward. This is what he said. Dear daughter of light, the heavens thank you for your service to the light. May you be safe and protected on your journey as you help to transmute energies that are no longer serving the collective. Listen for guidance and follow your heart. There is nothing that can stop the planetary rising now. Those in service to the light and the higher timelines for humanity will continue to transform the lower energies of suppression. Walk and speak in truth. Call in freedom for the people of Earth. The eagle is the symbol of that freedom or sovereignty which shall be restored, and as humanity rises in consciousness, they shall desire their sovereignty more and more. Be at peace, for you are walking through the valley of fire. You are walking through the valley of decision. Each being will make their choice as to where they want to tread. For humanity has free will, and these choices are not made lightly. Think about the new reality you wish to create. It shall be yours in perfect divine timing. The time is now. The harvest is now. This is not some future event, but the process has begun. You are in it. Take hold of the staff of righteousness and walk in purity. For in this purification process that you are in the midst of, you will find peace in leaving behind any old baggage that does not serve you. Let go. Move into the light of the Most High. This is my simple message to you this powerful day. This is a message of love and divine guidance. So be it. After the channeling, we headed to downtown Flagstaff, and just on the edge of town, I spotted another antique store where I ended up finding a rawhide drum, which I thanked the spirits for and consecrated for my healing practice. Then we headed further south through the beautiful Coconino Forest towards Sedona. We dropped off our belongings in a very Twin Peaks-like rustic motel in the canyon. We drove to the downtown area of Sedona, and from there picked a random hike called the Little Horse Trail. There were many bluebirds that greeted us as we began the hike. Along with blue jays, they are among my favorite birds and are considered peacemakers. The Navajo and Iroquois consider them an omen of prosperity, and seeing them meant something new and wonderful is about to happen. As the trail opened up to spectacular views of the Red Cliffs, with the Chapel of the Holy Cross in the distance, we stopped for a moment and gave thanks. I held out my hands and again made the intention to clear any deception energy there. On the way out, a falcon crossed our path. Their energetic signature carries with it vision, victory, success, leadership, fiery solar energy, wisdom, fearlessness, discernment, and liberation. After the hike, we stopped in for an iced coffee and strolled a pretty plaza lit with strings of white lights adorning the big sycamore trees, and we listened to some live flamenco music. We headed back to our little room in the canyon where we built a fire and had a bath. The next morning we woke up to a storm with heavy winds and rain, so our plans to hike the nearby Slide Rock Park were foiled. We made a quick walk down to the creek with our pup, who wanted nothing to do with the weather. So we decided to make our way to the next destination, which was St. George. On the way up the stairs, just before we left Sedona, I noticed a large metal bear sculpture, seemingly a nod from Spirit that the bear spirit animal had indeed been with me this entire trip. When I got home, I looked it up and learned that in Siberia, the name used to designate women shaman is the same word as bear. In the Inuit tradition, the bear spirit is also connected to the shamanic tradition and women. In Native American tradition, the power of the Great Spirit lives through the bear, making them highly prized guides for their fearless medicine. This belief led to the constellation Ursus Major being named after the Great Bear. The spirit bear and constellation that I saw before the trip now started to make much more sense. After this realization, we got in the car and made our way through rain, sleet, and snow. The storm finally cleared, and there was gorgeous clouds along the way that seemed to be following us, and some strange light rays hitting the earth like we have never seen before. After stopping in Kingman and hitting some thrift stores, we drove past the Hoover Dam and into Nevada. After passing Las Vegas, we saw a sign for a turnoff to an actual place called the Valley of Fire, which I did not realize was there. This was mentioned the day before in the channeling, so I knew there must be a significance to it. We did not have time to go into the park, but it felt like we were driving parallel to it for a time, so I did send more healing energy as we made our way through the desert. We arrived in St. George shortly after passing this place and checked into our hotel. We took our pup out for a walk as the weather had subsided. After passing the lobby, a woman was complaining to the receptionist that her room felt haunted. Of course, I jumped in and offered my help if she was not going to switch rooms. She looked genuinely relieved, and we followed her to her room. We said that we would come right back, and we went away for a minute to our own room and set intentions for protection and shielding. Even so, when we entered her room, Michael instantly felt nauseous and decided to wait outside. I sat down and tuned into what felt like a stuck entity. I called in Yeshua and helped the being cross over and filled the room with light of violet flame or the light of God. I set intentions for the woman to have peace and protection and told her that she could do this herself also. Later, I went for a swim in the beautiful hotel pool that was surprisingly warm for November. I was the only person there. While I was swimming, I was told that not just the hotel room, but the entire area needed healing and clearing. So I was led to do a healing between the Mormons and the Native Americans in the area and in the Valley of Fire to transmute any energy that was not serving the people there. That was when the ancestors told me they had something to say. I told them I would do a proper channeling when I arrived home. The next day, we headed back to our home in northern Utah. On our way back, we stopped for gas, and our receipt there was number 1111. Michael found what looked to be a falcon or hawk feather in the parking lot. Right after that, I got a text from my friend Amy, a fellow shamanic practitioner, that one of the grid workers she follows mentioned that two places that are significant galactic hubs in the grids activating right now and receiving new light are Utah and Sedona, Arizona. Go figure. Now I'm all unpacked, and today is 11/11, and I just finished channeling the message from the ancestors of the Valley of Fire, and this is what they had to say. We welcome you this fine November morning as we wish to transmit a message concerning our ancestral home of the Valley of Fire. This place was sacred to us. We did carve art into some of the rock here. The symbol of the cross is a petroglyph that you will find here. It is a powerful symbol with many meanings. This symbol was used in many tribes and cultures. You were drawn to purchase a pendant with this equal-sided cross on your journey to Sedona and back up near the Valley of Fire for a reason. You were told that the true order of the cross is the mind, body, and spirit coming into balance with the Great Spirit or the God Force. You were told that the Native American meaning is crossing paths. We are crossing paths with you in spirit this day, for it is in sacred communion that we share our true selves and merge in spirit as one. Unity is the main goal of the coming shift, where humanity comes together in true love and harmony. The equal-sided cross also represents the elements, the directions, and the center of all that is. When we center ourselves within the middle of the cross, we are at one with the universe. When this cross is surrounded by the sacred hoop, we come full circle in unity. Unity with ourselves, and unity with humanity, and unity with the cosmos. As you were traveling through the sacred ancestral lands, you even consciously made a loop or a circle. There is great energy pouring into these places you visited, and you were assisting with this energy shift, as you have been told you are a transducer. As you move across the land with your intentions to transmute deception and darkness, it shall be. The energy that needs shifting here is one of poverty, reliance on false power structures, the chasm between the haves and the have-nots, and a false mask of spirituality. What is also being transmuted is the survival mode of the people in this area and on the planet in general. For many years, there has been a suppression of abundance, a distortion of the use of natural resources, as well as an assault on cosmic wisdom and spiritual practices of our people. This is what led our people to the point we are at now. We once lived in harmony with the land, and we had what we needed to thrive. We were living in sacred union with our ancestors and the Great Spirit. We were guided as you are being guided. But many have lost this holy connection and have been taught to fear it. There has been programming from many sides. As the Mormons came through this area, unbeknownst to them, they were carrying an energy that created disharmony with our sacred lands. They came under false pretenses. They were following a leader who desired dominion and power over the people he was said to be guiding to the promised land. The western half of America is indeed special. The fallen ones knew this. There are portals of energy here that have been hijacked and used for purposes that are not of the light. This hijacking began with the colonization that took place under the guidance of the Jesuit and Masonic influence. Secret societies infiltrated our sacred lands. Our people were stripped of all we knew that kept us in alignment with the Great Spirit. There are very few of us incarnated today that have been able to maintain our cosmic knowledge and holy practices. But this will be restored as the light is now returning to and flooding the planet. All will be revealed. And you, dear one, are part of this revealing. You are a cog in the great wheel of light workers that are helping to dismantle the darker energies. You are us. We are you. There are many beautiful shifts that will begin to take place on the planet. During this process, know that you indeed have the power to dance in the face of death. The death of the old power structures that have held humanity in darkness. You have the energy of the white horse of Sitting Bull with you. All of the tribes of Israel stand behind you. We will be found. And so it is. We leave you in peace, woman of the stars. Your star people are never really far away. We walk with you and we bless you with our love, mutual gratitude, and guidance on your journey back into the light. Thank you, star ancestors. And when I got home, I looked up the petroglyphs that are in the Valley of Fire, and sure enough, there is a cross there, an equal-sided cross. There are several of them, actually. And by one of the biggest main ones, there is a huge bear paw there, too, which I thought was a really interesting synchronicity with everything that had happened. If you are enjoying this content, please press like, subscribe, and share with anyone you think might enjoy these videos. And press the notification bell if you'd like to be reminded of my next video. Until next time.